Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome to Small World and thank you for joining me with today's video. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to 3D print miniature flowers for dioramas. Here's the 3D file I created for these flowers. If you'd like to download and print these for yourselves, they'll be available on my Patreon for my Gold and Platinum members, so feel free to join using the link in the description. Here's how they look printed. They're super small and have lots of fine detail. I prepare the flowers for painting by sticking some double-sided tape to some scrap foam core and then pressing the prints down on the tape to keep them in place. I thin a vibrant red color and start spraying the prints using my airbrush. Airbrushing is my preferred method for painting these super small flowers because you have total control over how much paint you're spraying. You can definitely still use a spray can if you don't have an airbrush. Just make sure to hold the can a safe distance away from your flowers and be sure to do light coats so you don't flood the details with paint. If you decide to go with spray cans, I'd recommend Tamiya spray paint because they have super fine spray nozzles. I also am spraying some of the flowers with some white to add some variety. Again, the paint is pretty thin and I'm just building up the opacity with several thin coats to make sure I don't clog the details on the flowers. And here's how they look once dry. For the next step, I paint this planter box that I modeled and printed using some acrylic paint. I'm going for a terracotta finish, so I'm using an orangey brown color. Once the paint is dry, I fill the box with some dirt that I sifted from my front yard. Then, I soak the dirt with some isopropyl alcohol and then add some diluted matte Mod Podge, which will seal in the dirt. Next, I apply some tacky glue and start adding some greenery from Diorama Precipe on top of the glue. I'm not sponsored by Diorama Precipe, but I honestly believe that they sell some of the best model making scenery products on the market, so I'll leave a link to their shop in the description below. Then, I start to snip the flowers off of their 3D printed supports using some model making side cutters. I add some tacky glue to a scrap piece of foam and then dip each flower individually into the glue and place them onto the plant. This definitely takes a while, but it adds so much detail and is worth the effort. I also find the process super satisfying as you can see the results come to life right before your eyes, one flower at a time. Here are some flowers that I modeled for a Greek diorama that I recently completed. The process for making these was pretty similar to what I just showed you, just with a couple differences. Once the flowers are painted and snipped, I actually glue them to some seafoam plants that I primed brown rather than directly gluing them to the leafy green plants from Diorama Precipe. I also use super glue and zip kicker to apply the individual flowers to the seafoam because the glue dries instantly and the flowers have an easier time sticking to the seafoam this way. Just be sure to wear a respirator when using zip kicker as the fumes are very strong. I repeat this process until I have several seafoam flower bushes. They don't look very impressive on their own, but once I press them into place by gluing them into the greenery from Diorama Precipe, I think they come to life and look fantastic. I actually have a full-length tutorial on exactly how I made this project and I take you through each step, so be sure to go and check it out. Also, I want to thank all of my Patreons for your support. You guys are awesome and really help keep me inspired to continue making these videos, so thank you so much. If you'd like to help me out and support me on Patreon, I'd truly appreciate that. In return, you'd get to see my behind the scenes photos of whatever project that I'm working on at the time before any other platform. And also, you can download all of my 3D files and PDFs from my previous projects to use in your own dioramas. I'll leave a link to my Patreon in the description below in case you're interested. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.